Living in New York!
So that was actually one area of one people at one time.
Actually, it's one people. Well, it is really beautiful, but what does it mean? The experience then, and then what we become today, what we have done with that culture. Is it something we try to tell our children to understand, to stay close, to stay connected to the motherland?
That's why we have events like this, so we can make those connections. If you look around, you see a lot of people have brought their children to this event, which is very good because for them to get this understanding of what's going on early so they can continue to follow this path and represent as Africans.
And it's really important that when we know our ancestors' names that we call them, because we believe as long as we continue the communication, we call their names, we pour libation, remember them in our prayers, we ask for their guidance, then they're never dead.
This is wonderful. And me, for being Haitian, I can tell when we talk about the souls, we talk about the Loa, which is those who have passed. I can see a connection between the whole culture, and we are one people, isn't it?
Yes, definitely.
It's been wonderful, and this is a pleasure. Thank you very much for talking to me, and then we'll be putting you on TV, that's for sure, to let the people know how we, the black people, want to stay together.
All right,
thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Well, this is Nick, New York, on location on Coney Island, on the boardwalk. As you can see, that is a whole celebration. We have just interviewed those who have participated in the ceremony, and then they are actually celebrating the ancestors, those who have passed, the soul. Like we Haitian, we celebrate the Loa. That's what they consider their ancestors. We'll be right back as I left you with some images as you enjoy the show, what's going on the boardwalk, Coney Island Avenue.
Dry soul with a shallow root. These spirits returning as our children, they walk the indigo path. We shouldn't let them walk it blindly and alone. These children touching the earth now, their souls remember the tortures, the disrespect of their manhood, of their womanhood, of their humanity. Some died in the Middle Passage, some died running to freedom, some died under the lash in childbirth or suffering hunger and starvation. They all died knowing outrage, sadness, the pain of unseen wounds, and the shame of a dishonored spirit. No omiero to wash their spirits, no efum to cool their souls, no stools blackened for them to receive the feast of the Asamamfo, no yam to eat with their families at the Agungu masquerade. These children, these spirits, returning as our children, they walk the indigo path. We shouldn't let them walk it alone. These searching spirits are angry with silent memory, born to generations of Christian parents who reject ancient orishas and omasum of their people, who fear the wisdom of divination, who revile the rituals that bring the indigo ones into the light. They clutch the Bible, embrace the slave master's God with a feverish joy, and remain ignorant of how to pacify their children's souls and heal their hearts. They are blissfully unaware of how to walk the paths of indigo and earth, African and Western, the practical and the mystical. They embrace the Jesus God of their oppressor, who has never been their way, their truth, or their light. They remain enslaved by forgotten and invisible chains. These spirits, returning as our children, they walk the indigo path. We shouldn't let them walk it alone. They are resonant with a mystical power combined with a white-hot rage taken to a random grave, smoldering for over 6 centuries. It's a soul-killing combination. These spirits, returning as our children, are angry that we do not remember. The echo of their ancestral memory turns away in the fire of their rage. Don't turn your back on them. Look past the inferno in their eyes and you will see the genius blooming there. You will see new galaxies born, exploding in the sweet recesses of their souls. You will hear the music of new worlds only they have the incantations to bring forth. You'll hold in your arms the reincarnations of the ancient ones that only our daughters' wombs can bear. Old souls waiting to be born into a new era of golden dreams. They need the patience of our love, our ancient magic and rituals to cool their heads and guide their feet to free their souls. They need us to call our ancestors to intercede with their divine protection. They are waiting for us to invoke our gods for their wisdom, power, and insurance, so our children's children's grandchildren and great-great-grandchildren will fulfill their destinies. These spirits, returning as our children, they walk the indigo path. We shouldn't let them walk it blindly or alone.
This is Nick and Nick live show in Coney Island Avenue. As a matter of fact, we are here reporting on the event that the African are celebrating today on Coney Island Avenue, which is the Ancestors Day. And so, good afternoon. As you can see your costume, beautiful costume. I can see you are part of the celebration. You know, can you tell me exactly what today the African are celebrating here in Coney Island?
Well, we're celebrating the lives of all the Africans who were in the process of being transported from the African continent during the enslavement process, but were sacrificed in sometimes the worst possible inhumane conditions in the history of humanity. And those souls are related to us. So we don't want their bodies to lay under the ocean, knowing that they have family who grieve and miss them, but never actually go back and take any time at all to speak to the fact that we love them, we miss them, and we appreciate and understand their sacrifice. So we take this opportunity today to give this tribute to our ancestors. And this is our tribute to the ancestors. That's literally what it's called. And we start with a libation that's poured simultaneously in Ghana, in the Gullah Islands in North Carolina, in Trinidad, in Jamaica, in various parts of the world simultaneously, to pray for those souls who were sacrificed in this very powerful way.
You know the world that you feel yet connected as they left the motherland and to come in. You feel connected still that the Africa, the motherland, the alma mater. You feel still connected to those who have perished and those who have lived to put the seed for us to be part of different communities. Is that correct?
That's correct.
That's correct.
And this sister is one of the sisters that helps to pour the libation with me. Her cousin Joyce, and Hank. And this brother provides the music, the drumming for us, because it's the heartbeat of our nation. And it's so important because when we were in the dungeons in West Africa, in Cape Coast, seeing the horrible conditions that the Africans were kept in before they were bought and traded and transported to all parts of the world, we actually were connected to them through a spiritual ceremony. And then when we came back here, we were asked to pour the libation, so we understood the spiritual circle, the nature of what had happened to us spiritually, how we'd been transformed. And those ancestors said to us in no uncertain terms, "You are ours. We are related to you. Don't forget us."
That's wonderful. What could you tell me about? Because he couldn't put it any better. Actually, the connection between the. But however, is it the whole? Let's say, I know, the West Africa, Dahomey, which is now Benin today, and then Ghana, Cameroon, and the whole West, Togo, and all that. But this is not just this part of West Africa. Also, the whole North also is part of this line of ancestry we're talking about, correct?
Well, actually, their whole continent. They're always trying to divide up the continent into different little pieces. But within the whole continent, there is an overlap and complement of all the different traditions, all the different spiritual systems, our history. And I think the way that we try to do the East, the West, the North, the South is really more from here, where you try to divide things out. It was a complement of all that was within the continent that made it so rich and so powerful. And the division that it has now is a real travesty, because it really shows how when you begin to identify the weakest link, and then use that like a cancer to permeate and spread, that you can literally kill off a whole vine from its root. And a lot of these rituals that we do now is to help to reinforce what originally was there energetically and spiritually, and connect all that was splintered onto this side and all over the world to rejoin, to help then re-empower the original source of all that became.